All right, so the first thing that you need to know is that exercise is a trigger for fat-burning hormones. All right, now most people have this idea that exercise is about creating calorie deficits and burning calories. And I'm not saying that exercise does not burn calories, but this is not the main thing that you need to be clear on when it comes to the role that exercise plays in your fat loss journey. Exercise is a trigger for growth hormones, and when growth hormones are high in the body, then your body will choose to use fat as its source of fuel when you're at rest. Okay, so not actually during the time that you are exercising, but at rest. The amount of calories burnt during exercise is actually very small, but the benefits come later on when you are in recovery, all right, when you are at rest. And so it's very important that you get clear on the types of exercise that are going to trigger the most amount of fat burning hormones, and they are your high intensity kinds of exercises. All right, so things like doing weights, all right, whether it's resisting against extra weight, like dumbbells and exercise equipment, or whether it be resisting against your own body weight. That too is also considered a anaerobic type of exercise, which is one of the kinds of exercises that will trigger the most amount of fat burning hormones. Another type of anaerobic exercise is anything short and sharp that requires an explosive movement, all right? So where you are pushing your body to its maximum. Now that could be sprinting. So whether you are doing some short sprints, whether you sprint as fast as you can for 20 seconds and then allow yourself to recover, or whether you are doing a explosive jumping movement where you are lowering yourself to the ground and then bounding up into the air, or bounding distance to try and get as far as you can go. Those exercises are all considered the type of exercise that will trigger the most amount of fat burning hormones. All right, now here is the thing that you need to understand about this first thing, is that in a healthy body, it can very easily adapt to the stress from exercise. Okay, so if your body is healthy and it is dealing with stress well, then it'll be able to deal with the stress induced by this kind of exercise, and therefore continue to adapt and increase its ability to handle more stress. Okay, so you can continue to do this kind of exercise and continue to get great results when it comes to fat burning, because it's continuing to trigger those fat burning hormones. All right, so that's the first thing that you need to know. Now, the second thing that you need to be aware of is that this same group of exercises, all right, this anaerobic exercise that we call it, this high intensity type of exercise, is also the same group of exercises that will trigger the most amount of stress hormone. Okay, and stress hormones are also fat storage hormones. So in a healthy body, when you are triggering stress hormones and your body is able to adapt to that kind of stress, and therefore it's able to benefit from high intensity exercise, that's great. But it's also important to understand and be aware that these same group of exercises trigger the most amount of stress hormone. And so if your body is not healthy and it's not able to deal with this amount of stress, then you will not be benefiting from this kind of exercise. Okay, initially in the interim, you may notice that you start to lose some fat, right? Pure, and mostly this is coming from the calorie deficit that's created. But however, you will get to a point where you get very run down, and where your recovery slows down and your workouts just begin to take a decline, and where you are actually finding that you're struggling with sleeping and a bunch of other problems that you are experiencing. And when this happens, your body is actually accumulating stress, and it's building up like stress does in a bucket. So let me give you a little bit of an analogy. Let's imagine that each person has a stress bucket, and the bucket has a capacity for the amount of stress that it can hold. So the way that your body experiences stress is is the same. All right, it's the same as other stresses. So as an example, whether it be an emotional stress, or whether it be a mental stress or a physical stress, it does not matter. Your body actually experiences stress exactly the same way. So sometimes when I say to someone, so what do you feel like your stress is doing right now? How is it how do you feel like you're coping with stress? And they say, oh, well, I have no stress at all. Right? That may be that there's no emotional stress, but the physical stress might be coming in from another area, and that could be what is causing it to accumulate in that bucket. So as an example, if you're experiencing stress at home, right? So maybe you're a parent and you've got kids, and at the same time as having to manage your own emotional stress and keep everything together, you've also got to help your children to manage their stress, right? Which means more energy and more giving from you. All right, so that's gonna add into your stress bucket when you're needing to do that. What about if you are having some relationship stress? All right, we all know that all the time when you're in a relationship, you're either going through times of support or times of challenge. And so when you're going through those times of challenge in a relationship, that's going to pour into the stress bucket. What about with whatever's going on at work? Have you got deadlines to meet? Are you working on important projects? Right, because if you are, then that period of time is going to contribute to pouring into your stress bucket. What about if you have some financial stress? You know, it's very, very common to go through times of abundance and times where you're feeling like everything is a bit scarce. All right, and that is going to pour into your stress bucket. So can you see that all these different things are pouring into the stress bucket? And then if you add exercise into the equation, that the kind of exercise that I mentioned before that triggers the most amount of fat burning hormones are also the ones that trigger the most amount of stress, because of the amount of stress that may be already accumulating in that bucket. That could be the very thing that causes your stress bucket to spill over. All right. It also may be the way that you are eating. If your diet consists of a lot of processed foods, then the amount of stress that is causing to the body can be is another thing to add into your stress bucket. Now, if you have some strategies in place, if you have some daily strategies in place to help empty out the bucket, all right, like for example, you have a supportive partner, so at the end of the night, you are having some good conversation, you're able to empty some of the things out of that stress bucket. If you have some good friendships, right, friends that you can rely on, friends that you can confide in, then that can be something that will help you empty out of the stress bucket. If you have a job that you love, even though you've got projects and deadlines to meet, because it's a job that is fulfilling, that is going to help you at the end of the day be able to have enough of a perception of loving your job that you're emptying out of the stress bucket. If you have a great exercise program where you have say you are walking, or you are swimming, or you are cycling, or you're doing light kind of activity and you have fun, that is going to empty out of your stress bucket. If you follow a diet where you are eating mostly whole foods, that is going to help empty out the stress bucket. So you can see that it's all about how your body is actually dealing with stress and whether it is accumulating and whether you have strategies in place where is it allowing to be emptied out. All right, prayer and meditation is also a massive thing that contributes to helping your stress bucket empty. All right, now when that happens and you are actually allowing your stress bucket to empty, then you will be able to recover from the stress of exercise. All right, which is as it pertains to the topic we're talking about today. Now, how you'll know if your stress bucket is not emptying. All right, here are 3 things that you can look out for that will be signs and clues that your body is not dealing well with the accumulating stress. And that is if you are not sleeping well. All right, if you're waking up in the middle of the night, say 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, if you are feeling quite flighty throughout the day, so your mind is whirring and your thoughts are whirring, and by the time you get to the end of the day, it's just continuous, and you can't sleep because you're up just thinking and thinking. All right, maybe another sign is that you get to the end of the day and you're just exhausted, and so you just crash out. And then when you wake up in the morning, you feel really unrested, like you have not slept. Those are 3 signs that you can look out for, which are where your stress bucket is very full. And it's important to note that you will not benefit from high intensity kinds of exercise, because this type of exercise is one that will contribute far too much to your overflowing stress bucket. All right, so that is the message for today. I hope that you really got some value from that, guys. I'm loving the appreciation for the content. I'm glad that you guys are getting something out of this. I hope that you are sharing, all right? Make sure that you share to your followers. On Periscope, the way that you share is by swiping up and across, and that'll give you the opportunity to share to your to other Periscope followers, or it'll give you the option to copy the link and share it through other social media means like Facebook, for example. And Facebook Live viewers, you guys will know how to share using Facebook. So that's the message for today. I hope that you got some value from that. If you are joining for the first time, then just know that tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, I'm going to be dealing with helping you through another message. I'm going to go through another strategy session. So Monday to Thursday, 8 o'clock is when I do these. Thanks for joining me this morning, guys, and I look forward to providing you with even more value tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Have a fantastic day.